Welcome back, everyone. The New Hampshire primary begins in just hours, and some polls show Governor John Kasich climbing in the polls in second place, right behind Donald Trump. JD spoke with the Ohio governor over the weekend, started out by asking about Marco Rubio's debate performance.
JD, I'm not an analyst. I'm just out there doing the best I can do, and we'll just have to see how everything settles down. What you should know is that we have a very good ground game out here, and you understand the critical nature of a ground game. And I just think that we are rock solid here, and we're going to do very well.
Well, in addition to a ground game, you have your own internal polling. Can you share with us anything from that, the reason you're encouraged?
Well, we're not doing a lot of internal polling now, but we feel pretty much like we're in second place, and we just have to keep going and try to finish strong. And we got a couple more town halls today, tomorrow. We're working hard. All of our volunteers, hundreds of them, are going to be out in the street.
And in addition to working with that ground game and getting the volunteers out, you're getting some Hollywood support. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Montel Williams have endorsed you. Why did they join up with Team Kasich?
Well, I've known Arnold for a long time, and he's a great guy, and I've known him forever. And with Montel, it came out of the blue. I ran into him in Columbus, and to make a long story short, he just said he liked what I was about, bringing people together, helping people to have opportunity, and that's, I guess, what's behind it. It's terrific.
As we take a look at the polling externally, Donald Trump continues to lead. You've been critical, strongly critical of Donald in the past, but you moved away from that recently. Do you still think Mr. Trump is unfit to be commander-in-chief?
Well, that's up to the voters, JD. And I've run a very, very positive campaign here. What I didn't like in the beginning is the idea that we're going to snatch people out of their homes and deport them. But look, that's behind us now. I've made my position clear, and all I'm going to do is continue to tell people that we're going to balance budgets, cut taxes, change regulations, fix the border, deal with Social Security, all within the first 100 days. And as I told people last night, you better go buy a seatbelt.
Well, the seatbelt is still needed these days, Governor, because of the bumpy economy. Friday, the president comes out and talks about the jobs report and that being good news. But you have been critical of that, pointing out the economy is growing at its slowest pace in decades. In fact, you called it anemic. Tell us what you did in Ohio that you would do in Washington to fix the economy.
Well, JD, it's what you and I did in Washington, which I did in Ohio, which is simpler regulations, lower taxes, and a fiscal plan to balance the budget. The same thing I've done in Ohio, and I just want to take that and move down to Washington and have all that proposed in the first 100 days.
John, it's been interesting, especially in Saturday night's debate, to see the separation, if you will, between governors and senators, the way it came down. As for Jeb Bush, he said this to us, that he's the only governor with a conservative record running. Is that a fair criticism? People saying that you, John Kasich, are not really conservative?
Hey, look, JD, you know me. We balance more budgets than anybody around, cut more taxes than anybody in America in the last few years, more school choice. We're running surpluses. We're up 400,000 jobs in Ohio. And you remember how well we were doing when we balanced the budget and cut the capital gains tax back in the 90s. So, no, I just think it's a desperation by some to try to sidetrack me, but I'm not going to get sidetracked. I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Well, continuing the debate dichotomy that was laid out between governors and senators, and again, problems for people like Marco Rubio. His inexperience, some have criticized him, saying he would be the Republican Obama. Do you think Marco Rubio or any senator has the right kind of experience to be president?
JD, I'm not into criticizing these folks. Let the voters decide. But what I can tell you is, having been a legislator and now being an executive, it gives you a unique perspective on how to bring people together and solve problems. And as an executive, you've got to, at the end of the day, you have to stand for your record, and you've got to answer for your record. It's a little different than being a legislator.
Well, as you try to bring people together, John, you and I both know that illegal immigration is one of the issues that really separates people in our party. You have a position that differs from a lot of folks. Again, in your own words, what is it you want to do to secure the border and deal with the people who are already here?
Well, secure the border for sure, and also create a guest worker program so people can come in and work and then go home. And then for those that are here, the 11.5 million, if they haven't committed a crime since they've been here, then we give them a path to legalization. They pay a fine, maybe some back taxes, and then we move on. And then once the border is secure, anybody that comes across, you're going back, no excuses.
Before Obamacare, John, there was Hillary Care. When we were in Congress, or actually 2 years before I got there, you sat down with Mrs. Clinton about health care. What were your impressions of her approach to that and really to governing overall?
Well, what happened, JD, is she came to my home and I invited all the Republican leaders who were involved in health care, and they told her what they thought about her programs and what their solutions were. She didn't pay much attention, but I do remember when Robert Reischauer, the former head of the Congressional Budget Office, had the courage to stand up and say that we couldn't afford it, it wouldn't work, and I think that's what put it to bed.
Interesting discussion. We thank Governor Kasich for his time. Wish him all the best tomorrow night. What did you think of what John Kasich had to say? Send me your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. And stay with us. When we come back, Colonel Derek Harvey and J.D. Gordon join us to discuss new anti-ISIS ads. It's straight ahead right here on Newsmax Prime.